Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Before we kick the show off, I do want to let you know that if you want to support the show, you can buy some stickers, some Riding Shotgun and some GunGram stickers, and some Riding Shotgun with Charlie patches at ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com on the swag and merch page. And you can also buy shirts, hoodies, and mugs at the Teespring store, which is teespring.com/stores/Riding Shotgun with Charlie. And all of these things help get the stagecoach across America. Now, today we are in Bellevue, Washington for a very, very special episode. It is the 100th episode, and we have with us Alan Gottlieb, the head of the founder of the Second Amendment Foundation?
Founder and head.
And the head, is it the president?
I'm actually executive vice president.
Executive vice president. That means you can stay longer.
Oh,
that's right.
President.
Yes. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
I'm honored to have you. I don't know what happened to my camera guy. Oops. Let me adjust this a little bit. I don't know what happened to my camera guy. There he is. This is a special one for me because it's my 100th episode, and the ideas that I had with Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Yep. The ideas I had with Riding Shotgun with Charlie, I had no idea that it would go this far, and that I could be interviewing people around the country, and have someone like Alan Gottlieb on the show, and then an immediate left after the right. All right. So the Second Amendment Foundation has been super instrumental in helping Riding Shotgun succeed. So I can't thank you enough. I feel the first year I went to GRPC, I felt like it was like, I don't know any of these people. I know these people, but I don't know these people.
That plugged you in right to the National Gun Rights Movement.
Oh my gosh!
Instantly.
I'm telling you, I will never forget. I was on the phone with Mark Walters, and Mark asked me to speak at the Gun Rights Policy Conference and said that we're going to put you on the panel of people that use new media to promote gun rights. And he said these words: "Welcome to the big leagues." And I'm like, I don't even really know what this means, but this is really cool.
Well, you made it in the big leagues big time, and you sure helped out the gun rights community. So I thank you for all you've done.
I'm honored. I tell everyone that all I'm doing is I'm just trying to keep up. That's all it is. People doing more stuff than I am. People are certainly doing different stuff than I am. And what I do is a little bit different, and I can't thank you and the SAF enough for inviting me into the group and into the gang and hanging out with the cool kids.
Well, now you're part of the Second Amendment family.
I love it. You know, Ken Blanchard liked to say, anyone that gives you a gun is family, and anyone that wants to take your gun is an enemy. And I mean, it really is that way. It really is. So we're here in Bellevue, Washington. I got to be careful with the accelerator because we're in your Corvette.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
How many people can say they've driven Alan Gottlieb in his Corvette?
Actually, not many. I don't let many people drive it.
I know. That is a little boggling as well. That is.
It's a fun car.
And you said this is what, your 7th Corvette?
This is my 7th Corvette. I started in 1976. This is my 7th one. So I feel lost without it or my gun.
That is too cool. Too cool. All right, so let's talk about gun stuff. What got you into gun stuff? Did you start off shooting when you were a kid? Did it come later in life?
Actually, I grew up in New York City, where nobody grows up.
Nobody can have a gun.
Get you learning to shoot or having a gun. My first time I had a firearm really was in the Army, and I went to school at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and guns are pretty prevalent in Tennessee.
Sure, that's different in America.
I got involved in fighting for individual rights in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Of course, the one area that's always been under the most attack has been the Second Amendment. And so I gravitated towards that and was involved in a national youth group called Young Americans for Freedom. And I elected to their national board of directors. And they ended up sending me out eventually to Seattle, Washington, to run YAF in a 13-state region. And all their offices had an issue committee in it that was national in scope, wasn't just in the region. And they had the student committee for the right to keep and bear arms. And I got out here, and at that point in 1972, there was no gun rights lobby, so to speak. The NRA's extensive lobbying was writing an article in the American Rifleman saying, "Write your congressman." It predates NRA's ILA being formed. And so I asked staff, could we change it to make it Citizens Committee for the right to keep and bear arms? And they said, sure. And 2 years later, the committee was bigger than the Young Americans for Freedom was.
Wow.
And they decided, Alan, you should take this and run with it. And so we made it independent, and I did. And the same year, I founded the Second Amendment Foundation to be the 501c nonprofit educational legal defense org, so that donations can be tax deductible.
Yeah.
And you can write part of this off your taxes, make the government pay part of the freight, since they were attacking our rights to begin with.
Right.
And that's sort of how I got into it.
So, all right. So, what's the difference between the CCR-BKA and the Second Amendment Foundation? So, you said one is the nonprofit organization.
Well, they're both nonprofits, but
Okay.
donations to the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms are not tax deductible because it engages in direct and grassroots lobbying. The
Okay.
foundation doesn't lobby, so its donations are tax deductible, but they're both nonprofits.
Gotcha.
And work on the same issue at the same office building in separate offices, separate boards of directors.
That little complex.
Yeah, we have a gun rights complex called Liberty Park.
All right, I'm trying to. I don't want this guy to go. Do you guys own the whole building?
Yep.
The whole thing,
It's
like
our
both
complex.
floors?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It's our complex, and it's Washington State's Freedom Center. But of course, we're national in scope.
Of course. So how do you go from? How do you get the word out? I mean, this was. You took the what did you call it? The Freedom Citizens.
Young Americans for Freedom.
Okay, you took Young Americans for Freedom. Turned it. This is way before any social media stuff.
This is way before social media. We relied to grow and build solely on direct mail because our way we could reach people. Obviously, the media has never been gun rights friendly.
Right.
And so this was our way of bypassing media and reaching people directly in their mailbox with our message framed the way we wanted it.
That's pretty cool.
And of course, the Citizens Committee is a lobbying group, predates NRA's ILA doing it, and the Second Amendment Foundation predates the NRA Foundation. So we're actually the oldest lobbying group and the oldest foundation. You're probably going to, when you get up to the next light, probably want to go left. So.
Take a left. Okay. Good to know about all this. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been around a long time now, and of course, we're in an obviously heavy growth cycle in the last year or so.
Right. Do you think with the pandemic and more people buying guns, a lot of people say, well, they're just buying guns to make themselves feel safe and not really becoming gun right advocates and all that sort of stuff. Do you think there's a way that we can win these people over?
Oh yeah, most definitely. But let me first say that people buying guns, not so much because of the pandemic itself, they know that they're really on their own. Police, can get COVID as well. And so, if you want to protect yourself, you have to have the means to do so. But a lot of it's also been the political environment where you have the Democrats virtually unanimously screaming for all kinds of, gun prohibition. And as a result, people are trying to buy guns before more gun laws are passed. So we've been in record territory for gun sales, and a lot of those have been to very new first-time gun buyers.
Yeah.
And we're reaching out to get those people on board through social media and through national television ads that we've been running all across the country.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. I was actually sitting in a place. I have a local watering hole that I go to once a week, and it's pretty cool to see the commercials on TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I know those guys.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing when I get text messages and phone calls from people. I just saw your ad on TV. Wow, it's amazing. We're on national television. We've been on over 15, 16 networks, from, of course, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. But we're on things like the Comedy Channel. We're on the Weather Channel. Of course, the Sportsman Channel, the Outdoor Network.
Yeah.
One American News Network. But the History Channel.
Yeah.
Inspiration Channel. We're like all over the place.
Inspiration Channel. That's cool. It's seeing a gun rights group advertise on there isn't really something that you would expect from those folks.
I know. What's amazing for us is that we had to get approval, of course, from.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to keep.
Yeah, we had to get approval from the networks to be able to run these ads, and they've not accepted all of our ads. Some of them have been rejected or told us to revise them a little bit.
Really?
They don't like showing guns in the commercials, so we have to maybe have one or two slides in a commercial showing a firearm. We can't have a whole lot of active shooting in it because they don't want it. But we're trying to get the political message across, so the words are sometimes more important than the video.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the people end up remembering the video more often because it's easier to see and remember.
Yeah, and it's amazing. We've now, I think, in the last month alone, over 20 million people have seen our national TV ad. And then our social media advertising has reached like 30 million people on social media. We've got our ads approved and running on places where you wouldn't expect them to get approved, but Facebook, YouTube, Google, and so we're like all over the place, reaching people, bringing in a lot of new gun owners into the gun rights movement.
I think it's great. Does CNN and those sorts of media outlets, do they charge you more because they don't agree with it? Like it's one of those. Hey, listen.
Make a right turn.
Okay.
I'm a very frugal person, and I don't like paying regular rate card rates.
Yeah.
So we buy what we call remnant time that's unsold, and the networks have had a lot of unsold inventory, and so we've had no problem. But when we'll buy CNN, we don't buy it from CNN or MSNBC. I don't really want to pay the money.
Yeah.
So we buy it on Dish Network and Direct TV, and get it, because those cable companies have spots that they don't control, and so we buy it from the people that they don't. We buy it in ways that they don't control it.
Nice.
So actually, MSNBC and CNN don't get to approve or disapprove our spots. Like Dish TV, Direct TV, Verizon, other people get to approve it.
Yeah.
And it gets to run. They don't get a choice about it. Like on MSNBC, they get a lot of hate calls from a lot of MSNBC anti-gun viewers, and they can't get the spots off the air because they don't control that part of their own inventory. In order to be on the cable networks, they have to give up some of the spots. We buy those spots, so we're not really feeding the enemy at the same time.
Gotcha. I as an outside guy, that stuff is. How does that work? How do you would? Yeah,
we've had to learn an awful lot in order to be able to get our message out and to grow.
Yeah,
but it's been an exciting marketing experience all these years.
Sure.
And of course, I think at this point we're probably masters at it. And this past year, we've been lucky enough. Brad Parscale, who did all the social media and social media advertising as well for the Trump campaign, is now working for us.
That's awesome.
So he and his firm are doing gun rights these days,
that's
helping us grow a whole lot. He was really great at turning out tens of thousands of people at Trump rallies, like instantaneously. 24 hours notice, and all through social media. He's now doing that for us to have people turning out at legislative hearings, and courtrooms and all kinds of places we need gun owners to show up. Our outreach has just tripled already this year, just in the first month of this year.
Sure. Well, your background is in
big weapons. I have a degree in nuclear engineering.
Wow. There we go. Those are big weapons.
So
how do you take that and learn about the how to market yourself and learn about all this other?
Well, again, when I was in college.
Let me ask you this. I'm going through this with my daughter. Probably both my kids, realistically. But going for a degree in one thing and then end up doing something else.
Happens to a lot of us. When I graduated college with a degree in nuclear engineering, the environmentalists were shutting down all the nuclear power plants in the country. And it was hard to get a job. And my avocation, so to speak, in college was politics. And so I moved from one to the other.
Very cool.
Make it right with this leg.
Okay.
I felt that is.
So this has got to be not just with the new media, but it's new marketing. It's a whole new game. We can write on red, right?
Yes. The new media. The new media's been around a while now, so it just gets a little more sophisticated.
Right.
But we have.
But I mean, you're a guy that used to send snail mail, as we call it now.
We still do. We still bring on most of our supporters and our financial support through the mails. More and more picks up over the internet, but the mail still drives it. Response rates and returns are still much better. But you need to reach people every way you can.
Yeah.
So right now we have magazine ads. We were running about 8 national magazine ads a month. We have the advertising, on the internet. We have text messaging. We have phone banks going out. We have the direct mail. We've got the TV advertising. I mean, any way we can reach people with our message, we're doing this because gun owners need to be heard.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're actually trying not just to take our guns away, but they're trying to silence our First Amendment rights to protect our Second Amendment rights. That makes this whole thing a little more difficult for us and more important.
It does. It does. I was talking with a friend of mine a while ago, and
Make a right turn.
Right. Okay. And he was saying, he says, listen, everyone says that the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment, but these folks are all coming after our First Amendment, and it's scary. It's scary. It's scary that people can do this, and with all of the doxing and that people can do, and
yeah, and of course when you're public with this, the more public you are in the media with this, the more you get picked on.
Oh, sure.
And the more threats you get. You can't believe some of the hate mail and and hate messages that I get. I mean, I had one last week talking about I hope somebody shoots you in the head, or maybe we'll just be lucky and you'll do it yourself. I get things like that all the time. I mean, it's
unbelievable.
Our enemy is disgusting. While they talk about saving lives and being for open debate and discussing things and being rational, our opponents are full of hate and full of irrationality.
They are, and I was talking with Holly Sullivan from the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, and she was telling me she lives right near Sandy Hook, right in that area of Connecticut. She gets hate email all of the time, and she and I were out. We may have been having a drink and talking. Could have been coffee. Could have been. But she's as we were sitting there, she gets some hate mail from somebody. She's like, I get this 3 or 4 times a day.
I mean, it really. Some of them are downright scary. We've had to turn people over to law enforcement around the country. Some of them are so stupid that they leave it, their email, or they send you something in the mail, and you have to return address on it. And so we're able to, in many cases, turn the stuff over to law enforcement to follow through. Some of the threats are downright vicious and scary. Yeah.
Which would prove that you need to be able to protect yourself, because you got some crazy lunatic that thinks because you like guns, they're going to go out and they're going to kill you. So you got to be able to protect yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they reinforce why I own a gun.
Absolutely. So, gun stuff. You travel all over the world for talking about gun rights. What do you like to shoot?
I don't get much time to shoot. I basically have guns for sale. I have a zillion guns. First of all, I have every named gun on the Sullivan ban list, just on purpose.
Right, just it's a little pride.
But my gun of self-defense is a Daytonix 45, and I've had it for a lot of years. It's a great machine. But I also have an antique gun collection, mostly small pistols. Yeah. We're going to make a right turn. Okay. Again, mostly small pistols. But
the next one.
But I don't get to shoot all that much. I'm too busy out defending people's rights so they can shoot, and I don't get a chance to do it myself. Life isn't always fair. It's
not always fair. Absolutely. I've a lot of people I've talked to have said that sort of stuff. Say, so how often you go shooting? Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, what I probably enjoy the most really is skeet and trap, but don't get much time to do it. I need to take a day off and go play.
Oh my gosh, I've been trap shooting a couple times, and it's fun. I like the instant gratification, or the instant non-gratification of missing a target.
Actually, the person who taught me was Neil Knox. The old warhorse, the gun rights movement, so to speak. Yeah. And the sad part to this day is the best shotgun I've ever used was his personal shotgun. Wow. And unfortunately, it's my understanding that they just had an auction of his guns, and that one wasn't put up for sale.
Because it shoots good. Yeah. I went out a couple months ago and did some sporting clays.
You want to turn? Yeah,
gotcha.
Sorry. Get away from everybody.
I went out and did some sporting clays with some of the guys from the CNJFO in New Jersey, and
so you get to have all the fun.
I'm hanging out with John Petrolino, and I'm like, how can we do this for a living? He's like, what? Like hang out and go shooting? I'm like, I don't want to be a competitive shooter. I want to hang out. I want to go shooting. I want to have fun. But sporting clays was great. And you hop in your little cart. You shoot some clays.
I mean, see, my problem is like, most people get to do that on weekends. On weekends, I'm always traveling and speaking somewhere around the country.
Yeah.
Or somewhere around the world.
Somewhere around the world, yeah.
I mean, I also head up the International Association for the Protection of Civilian Arms Rights. It has, I think, 32 member organizations in like 24 countries.
Wow.
Across the globe. And if the COVID thing would step down a little bit, in May I'm going to be speaking in Brazil.
Oh my gosh.
On gun rights in Brazil. So we're kind of international in scope. We're also an executive committee member of the World Forum for Shooting Sports, and mostly targeting EU and European countries.
Mm-hmm.
So we're heavily engaged. My wife handles a lot of the international stuff.
Very cool. We'll have to talk to her sometime. The international stuff, I had Tomas Stepian on the show at GRPC out in Phoenix. And I thought it was really cool that he said that, we call it our Second Amendment rights. And he said they're trying to draw up a constitution for the EU. And I said, so are you going to make the Second Amendment the Second Amendment, or are you going to give it a different number? And he's like, yeah, you got to keep it number 2.
What I find interesting is in Europe, they always refer to gun rights as the Second Amendment. I mean, they know the Second Amendment really well. It's really interesting. Gun rights are the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. So in these countries that don't have these protections, to them the Second Amendment means something.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You've been to a bunch of other places as well, talking about gun rights. I think you're in Puerto Rico.
Well, in Puerto Rico, I've been in Taiwan. I've spoken, in England, France, Germany, Russia, Moscow.
Really?
So I mean, all over any place. To me, we talk here in the United States, and gun rights shouldn't stop at any state border.
Yes, absolutely.
International, gun rights shouldn't stop at any country's border. Gun rights are a human right, and absolutely. we should all have them all over. So I've been in a lot of places, a lot of restrictive countries where they don't allow gun ownership.
Yep.
Speaking in behalf of gun rights, because there are always people in those countries that wish they had the rights.
Amen. A few years ago, you actually came out to Boston and spoke in the Boston Common, and I was there at that.
Yeah, I need to get back to Massachusetts. It's one of our trouble states. Your state's one of our trouble states. Right now, we're engaged in a lot of lawsuits in Massachusetts, suing in your state for gun rights, and have been fairly successful. We had a very good rate COVID suit that we got a preliminary injunction against the state from saying gun ranges and gun stores couldn't be opened. And we got a federal judge signing off on that, and that was really a great victory that helped us win a bunch of those types of similar cases in all states all across the country. Mm-hmm. I think we restored gun rights in that area in 16 states due to COVID restrictions.
It's what our governor did. I mean, I don't have to tell you this. What our governor did in Massachusetts is gun stores had to shut down. We couldn't teach classes. We couldn't. What the NRA did is, since the home firearm safety class has hands-on, so you got to load and unload. You have to have students do that. You couldn't teach the home firearm safety class. You could teach the basic pistol class, since half of it was done online. You could do that remotely, but then you had to take someone shooting for the rest of the basic pistol class. But you could do that only in a state where where ranges were open. And I'm like, so let me see if I get this straight. Right here, the next slide. Okay. So I said, let me see if I get this straight. I can teach a class online or whatever remotely, and then take someone to New Hampshire so that they can do some shootings to get their Massachusetts license. Like, this seems completely ridiculous.
Yeah, well, we had, it wasn't just about guns, but ammunition as well. So you have a gun, but if you can't buy ammunition, the gun's worthless. Mm-hmm. And so that was part of our suit as well. And of course, the governor argued in Massachusetts that, but you can buy 22 ammo at Walmart. But at any rate, the judge didn't bite off on that. He said, first of all, 22 isn't the greatest ammunition for self-defense, mm-hmm. and
it's not available.
Yeah, we're gonna this truck up. If you can get around the truck, we're gonna make a right at the next slide.
Okay.
But it's so the judge understood the fact that 22 isn't the best thing for self-defense, and a lot of people have guns that need don't fire 22s. You need,
right,
something else,
something a little bit bigger.
And so he luckily we had a judge that understood guns a bit. I don't know if he owns guns or not, but he had a pretty good understanding on how they operate.
That's a good sign, especially being in New England and Massachusetts.
So that was a great one. And of course, we have suits going on right now in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland. I mean, we're pretty heavy on the East Coast right now.
Yeah. In the Northeast, they're not big fans of guns there. All right, let's punch it a little bit.
There you got to punch the car a little bit. Oh, another truck. Well, these trucks are driving crazy. We're gonna
take it right here. All right. SAF just had a big ruling in California, and you're looking at one in New Jersey too, right?
Well, we have a great ruling we just got in California where they had added more guns to the so-called assault and ban list. 2 years worth of litigation, and if you already had one of those kinds of guns, you could keep it if you had it registered, but the registration system didn't work. It was online, and it didn't work. It meant gun owners there were going to become criminals, could go to jail, have their guns, confiscated. And we got a preliminary injunction against it earlier on, and now the state of California realized they were going to lose in court, signed a consent agreement with us, and so they gave up, and we won. And then we just filed a suit in New Jersey, hoping we win it too. But New Jersey is one of those crazy states that you have to have pre-approval to be able to buy a gun. You have to get a permit. It's very difficult to get to even buy a gun and own one in New Jersey. And the whole system, the way it's rigged and set up, is totally an affront to the Second Amendment. And so we just filed suit against that in New Jersey. We already have another suit in New Jersey against their very highly restrictive concealed carry law. We overall nationwide right now are somewhere around 40 cases going on in the courts. We win one and file another one, and we have one coming up that we're going to be filing shortly in Tennessee. Believe it or not,
really,
on people living in public housing that being denied the right to own a gun for self-protection.
Wow.
We've got cases all across the country. It's hard to keep track of them all. We're dealing with about 25 attorneys nationwide filing our cases right now. So it's almost like we have offices in 25 cities.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of.
Yeah, it gets very difficult to keep track of it all. With the spreadsheets we have with the cases and the motions, I mean, most law firms don't have 25 active cases where they're actually litigating in a courtroom. I mean, they have a lot of legal work, but they're not litigating.
Right.
When you're litigating 40 cases at one time, it's really a little overwhelming. We're like a major public interest law firm.
That's crazy.
No rush.
All right. We're going to run into someone over here. Here's a ridiculous question. I think your Twitter handle is the Bowtie Guy?
Bowtie Gun Guy.
The Bowtie Gun Guy. What's up with the bow ties? Is it just to stick out a little bit?
Well, it's a little disarming for the anti-gun people in the media. They like to paint us all as wearing camo.
Yep.
Unshaven, so to speak. And so when I show up wearing a bow tie on national television, it sort of disarms our opponents a bit, breaks the stereotype they like to try and cast us in.
Absolutely.
So I started that when I was younger, and
just stuck with it.
And so it's just stuck with it, and it's done well. I catch a lot of younger people. It's funny, I go to a lot of good gun events, and I catch a lot of our younger 18, 25, 30-year-olds, and all show up wearing bow ties.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to emanate Alan, and it's become kind of fun.
You're a close trendsetter as well.
Yeah, you can make a right turn there.
All right.
And you might recognize where you are. Your hotel's right around the corner.
Oh my! I have no idea where I'm at anymore. Let's put it that way. Winston.
Yes.
You take Winston everywhere.
Winston, I'm surprised he's not with me right now. He's probably blocking the camera. So, Winston's at the office right now. We left him behind, which he's not going to be happy about because he has anxiety with Burl, just like I do when he's not around.
Yeah.
He's a great puppy, 14 years old now. He's been to a lot of gun rights policy conferences.
Yeah.
He's sort of the office mascot. He's become the mascot of the GRPCs these days.
Yeah, I see you guys with him all the time at GRPCs. GRPC, you guys are walking around with him. Frightly.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Was he named after Winston Churchill or Winston cigarettes?
Actually, he's named after two previous dogs we had. Each one Winston 1, Winston 2. He's Winston 3.
Winston 3.
The first Winston came from the pound, and he had that name with him, and we just kept
stuck with it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know Anthony.
So unfortunately, he's not Smith & Wesson or Ruger. You know?
I know Anthony Calandra from the Gun for Hire range in New Jersey had a dog named Winston, and Winston passed away a little over a year ago. I'm like, wait a second, these two big gun guys have dogs named Winston. Yeah. Wait a second, what's going on with this? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a great animal.
So tell us about GRPC. How did you come? Last year was a huge success. The year before, in 2019, the last time we got to meet together in person, there were over 1,000 people signed up, and I think, 95 speakers? And we had to do it remotely this year.
Yeah, I think it was, I'm not sure, but that's not how 85 speakers stick in my head. But I could be wrong. You could be right. We had 1,100 people at the event. And last year we had to do virtual online because of COVID. We can do it again virtual online this year as well, because getting hotels big enough to handle us aren't that easy these days.
Yeah.
And it was a great success. I forget what number we're up to now.
35 or 36.
35 or 36, and they keep growing. And initially it was only the gun rights leaders and gun groups that showed up. Just stay in the next lane. So it's become a very interesting conference, of course. It's where everybody from every gun rights group gets to come together, and gun rights activists get to meet and plot out strategies for the year. We did very well online, except you couldn't network, and networking is a big part of it.
Really is.
Even though we had some social receptions, networking afterwards, online on Zoom. But the conference has a life of its own, and it's become everybody's conference. Well, we pay for it and we put it on. It's sort of everybody's event.
I absolutely love it. I know that. Go ahead.
No, and two lights up make it right.
Okay. I know that a lot of people talk about how these are they're family reunions, and honestly, I never understood that until I went to my second one, not the first one.
Yes.
Because you got to make those connections. And I was at the Florida Carry event recently, and it's the same sort of thing. You run into a lot of the same people. Yeah. We all see each other online.
We had one of our GRPCs, in 2011, 9/11 hit a few weeks before. One of our GRPCs was in Kentucky, Cincinnati area.
Yeah.
And we were worried that the event wasn't going to come off because nobody could fly. The airlines were closed down. Everything opened up like 2 days before. We decided we were going to hold the conference. We didn't know how many people would show up.
Yeah.
At that time, it turned out to be a record attendance because everybody wanted to be with like-minded people they knew and they could trust and felt comfortable with.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
So everybody showed up, and that was a great GRPC. Each one has a flavor of its own. Something different happens. That was the one where the Airline Pilots Association, got together.
Stay straight.
You can turn here. Got together and set up the group to do the lobbying to get airline pilots armed. So that came out of a GRPC.
Wow.
And every year something different pops up. And even when you try to plan it ahead of time, you really don't know because the current events change things.
Yeah.
So you plan an agenda, and 2 weeks before something happens, and lo and behold, there you are to respond to it all. But it's been quite a successful conference, and the gun rights movement sort of demands it sticks around, and everybody helps out and chips in and makes it work. People pay their own way. The speakers pay their own way to get there. Online this past year, I think we had, I'm not sure, but I think it was 120 speakers.
I think I heard Paul Lathrop say it was, I was thinking, he said over 100,000 people watched it?
Yeah. At this point, it's been well over 100,000 people watched it online. Yeah. So that's why
I think it was over 100 speakers, 150, 120.
So at this point, we want to keep it online maybe forever because we reach more people that way.
Yep.
And we may be doing a different kind of conference, a gun rights leadership conference. We limit to only maybe 200 key leaders so they can network better and use that more for network purposes. So we're looking at expanding out that way. We're also this year going to be holding Gun Rights Legal Scholars Conference with about 75 attorneys that we help every training around the country defending gun rights as well. And then, of course, AMCON, Paul Lathrop's, new media for gun rights group. We're looking at doing that one live. And
that's cool.
I should be talking to Paul later this week on that. And hopefully AMCON won't be held. It was done online last year. Hopefully this year that will be online for networking for people in new media defending gun rights.
Yeah, those are great. I've been fortunate enough to speak at them, and it's I feel like I can't contribute anything, and I go there to absorb what everyone else is doing, and it's always a good thing.
It's a good. You contribute and you get something out of it at the same time. It's great.
Absolutely. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm driving Alan Gottlieb's car around Bellevue.
You're probably getting put more miles on it than I do, because I never get a chance to drive my car, just like I don't get a chance to shoot my gun.
Right. Oh my
I put more miles on airplanes by a long shot.
Oh my God, totally. What else do you have going on? You got your PC. You've written a number of books with Dave Workman.
Well, I've written a bunch with him, and I've written a bunch without him.
Yeah.
So I don't remember my exact number. I think I'm somewhere around 24 titles that are out there, of which about 18 are still in print right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, over the years I've written a lot of books. It's almost time for me to retire.
Almost. Not yet.
Well, I'd like to, but the other side won't give up and go away.
They won't, and you're huge shoes to fill.
Yeah, well, if I could find the person to fill it, I'd fill it right now. It's this past year has been a really rough, tough year.
Yeah.
And the issues is harder and harder to deal with. I don't bounce back as quickly from all the traveling as I used to. I need somebody younger with more energy who's willing to put their feet in my shoes, and I'm more than happy to give them my shoes.
Well, this is the Second Amendment Foundation. Really is
not this slide, but the next one. Make a right turn.
Okay. This
right turn, not this slide, but the next one. It comes up quickly.
All right.
There you go. Just got the turn arrow.
There we go. Perfect. With all the stuff that's going on with the NRA, how is the NRA different from the Second Amendment Foundation? Because I think when I first got into it, I was like, well, they all do the same sort of stuff, and they all, it's all gun stuff, but they're definitely not.
Oh, I got you in a wrong lane almost.
Uh-oh.
No, you just don't want to get on the freeway, okay? So you're going to have to...
Don't get on the freeway, okay.
So it's sort of making this a turn lane only. This is new. So you're going to want to get one lane over when you can.
All right. Well, we're gonna go.
For it while we can.
We got it.
Stay in this lane.
Stay in this one. All right.
You're wiping out every street in our town of Bellevue.
I love it. So what's the difference between...
Actually,
yes.
Go over, you can make one lane over more. You can.
There's a lot of construction going on here too.
Yeah, we're obviously this is the home of Microsoft in the tech world, and we just keep growing and growing and growing.
I saw
in fact, Microsoft is seeing their names on top
I saw like 3 or 4 buildings, I think.
And this isn't even the Microsoft campus. Just behind us is where the Microsoft campus is in Redmond, our neighboring town. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing. But because Microsoft's here, then you have, there's a TO, you got Google here, you got everybody. It's got to be go one lane over, and we're going to make or 2 lanes over. We're going to make left turn.
Take a left. All right. So big difference between SAF and NRA.
And there's your hotel, I think.
Maybe.
Courtyard.
Oh wait, I think it is.
Yep.
Because I do have one of the rooms, and I went outside. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
See, and then you got our local Starbucks right there too.
Starbucks are everywhere.
Yeah. I love guns and coffee.
But you can't bring them in, right?
No, you can't. In Washington State, they go wherever the local law is.
Gotcha.
So in Washington, we don't. You can definitely bring them in as long as you have a concealed carry permit and they're concealed.
Yep. I like to say that people are like, you know what? Forget Starbucks. Blah blah blah. The few times I've been to
now, I've got into construction. I don't know what's going on here.
That's all right. We'll figure it out.
So go straight if you can.
Okay. I like to tell people that every time I go to Starbucks, I've got a gun on me. So,
straight.
Yep. No, we got to move.
See, I guess you can get around them. Okay.
We're gonna have to. This is crazy driving here. All right.
As you can see, new buildings are coming down while new ones are going up. Some of the buildings that are being ripped down are only 10 or 15 years old. Wow. One of our problems here is because the growth area is so big, and the tech companies pay so much money for employees that we're having a very difficult time getting employees because the cost of living here has gone through the roof.
Sure.
Go straight.
The road's closed up there.
Yeah, but you can make a left turn.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I hope. I'll take your word for it.
No, I could be wrong.
I'm just driving.
No, I think you can make a left turn and just.
Looks like okay.
As you can see, everything's brand new.
This is I like it out here. It looks kind of cool.
Oh, it's a great. And when it's sunny, it's a great place.
Oh, when it's sunny.
We do get a lot of rain. And then make a right turn.
Take a right here. All right.
Taking down the back alleys now.
You know, I don't have a gun on me. I didn't want to do any packed luggage, so. Right. This is cool. I love my little gig.
Okay, and then at the next corner, not just going to follow, make a right turn.
Make a right turn. All right. All right. What else? What else can you tell us about the SAF and the CCR BKA and all the other great stuff you guys are up to?
Well, it's pretty much all on the website, and I can't even keep track of it all. But saf.org or ccrkba.org, and all our stuff is there. And you know, we are basically the only alternative to the NRA that's out there. Right now, you asked about the NRA; they're going through a lot of hardship problems.
They are
internally, and thank heavens for support from gun owners. We're in a growth phase and growing, and able to pick up a lot of the slack and fill in a lot of the holes that the NRA has not been able to comply with.
Yeah, that's good, and people need to join. You guys are busting tail out here.
Make a right turn at the next light.
Right turn at the next light. Okay.
And if we're getting close, we can stop for lunch.
Lunch sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
All right. So we need to find some place to park and wrap it up.
Okay.
And
make a right turn here. You've been making all the lights, though.
I've been making all the lights. It's because this thing goes. All right. Well, listen. Let's wrap things up here. Let's park illegally. By the time the tow truck gets here, we'll be fine. This is 100th episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Bellevue, Washington, with Alan Gottlieb, the head and the founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. There's Derek. We're gonna put links to all this stuff. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a pleasure, like you wouldn't believe. I'm telling you.
How come it took 100 episodes to get to me?
Because you're a busy guy. So when we were in Phoenix, we were hanging out with Rick Ector and some of the other folks, and you came over to our table, and that was the year that you guys awarded me the I was telling everyone, Blogger of the Year. Didn't write a word.
It's all on video.
It's all on video. So I tell people, I'm the Blogger of the Year. What did you do? I made videos. I don't write. So you came over and you're like, hey, when are we gonna get in the show? I'm like, I don't know. I gotta get to Seattle. Gotta get Alan on the show. And then I'm honored to finally have the opportunity to do this.
Charlie, it's great to have you out here and tour our facilities. And thanks for all you do in getting word out to everybody on gun stuff, gun rights, as well as the fun of gun ownership. Thank you.
I tell people I'm trying to bring fun ownership to gun ownership.
I like that.
Love it. All right. Well, listen. Please join the SAF, saf.org, the Second Amendment Foundation. Do you have a catchphrase? Do you have T-shirts?
Yeah, we do.
You do?
Yeah.
Because I heard some people tell me in Florida, they're like, hey, you need to talk to Alan about getting some T-shirts.
Yeah, we do.
All right,
Hopefully
cool.
we have one of your size.
What's he trying to say? I'm going to have to get you a Riding Shotgun shirt as well. But anyway, so please join Second Amendment Foundation, saf.org, the Citizens' Right to Keep and Bear Arms, ccrkba.org. You need to join them as well. Please check out and please share and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie on YouTube. You can watch the show on YouTube, on Gunstreamer, on the OpsLens app. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, and share this with everyone you know, because this is how we get the stagecoach across America. The stickers you can find at ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com. These are yours. These are for you to put up at the office.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ta-da!
I love it. And we will see you. You need to check out the Self-Defense Radio Network. It is all of your pro-freedom podcasts in one place. And we will see you guys. Thank you so much for being on episode 100. Believe me, it's
you know,
it's
when
like
you hit 100, you're now an institution.
I should probably be in an institution. All right, we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.